I don't know what happened, but I got disconnected, so I'm back online. Hopefully you can join me. If not, I'm going to start. Maybe you can just watch the recording later. So I apologize. I have no idea what happened to my service. It was interrupted. So I'm going to continue. When Lynn and I got married, first thing we did was we made some rules that we could all both agree on. Rule number one is everybody gets what they want. So I'm not going to say to my wife, you can't have that gold watch. You can't have that car. You can't have that dream home. You can't. I'm not going to say to her, you can't have that because it costs too much. You can't have that because it's too expensive. Excuse me. You can't have that because we can't afford it. I'm not going to say that to my wife. I'm not going to say it to myself. I'm not going to allow for that possibility. I'm just not going to do it. Instead, I'm going to ask myself, how can I do that? What if I could do that? And how would I do it? And then the mind kicks into gear. Then we start figuring out solutions. Instead of buying into this old dogma, this old nonsensical parroting other people's words garbage. It costs too much. It's too expensive. I can't afford it. And say it to your friends. They all nod and go, yeah, you're right. No, you're wrong. Think, act, create a plan. So this is rule number one. Everybody gets what they want. Rule number two, you can't break the other rules to get it. Rule number three, before you take on a liability, you got to buy an asset that'll pay for it. So let's say, no, Wayne, you can't have that beautiful black, triple black 911 convertible Porsche that you love. You can't have that. Now, how would you like to be married to someone like that? How horrible would that be? You can't have that. Why not? I want it. Yeah, but it costs too much. What? It's too expensive. What? We can't afford it. What? You're fired. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? It's the craziness people buy into. It's just laziness and lack of desire, and they justify it by saying, it's too expensive, it costs too much, can't afford it. We're not living like that. Rule number one, everybody gets what they want. Rule number two, can't break the other rules to get it. Rule number three, before you take on a liability, you got to buy an asset to pay for it. No problem. Instead of the car, I'll just delay my gratification and go buy an apartment building. Apartment building will pay for the car. After the car's paid for, I'll still have the apartment building. It can buy me something else, like another apartment building and another apartment building. That's how the rich get rich. And that's why the poor get poorer. The suitcase tour. The suitcase, the zipper on my suitcase. TSA undoes my bag to check it. And putting it back together, they tear the zipper, it becomes disconnected. So it won't zip. The clasp. So I take it down to the repair shop. I get a notice it's ready, I go to pick it up. I drive in my car, I get out, I go in, I'm in line. A woman comes in behind me, she says, how do you like it? I drive a Porsche Macan. She goes, how do you like your Macan? I said, I like it fine. It's great size, it's not the big Cayennes, it's more manageable, it fits in my garage, I don't have to tiptoe around it. It's easier to park, it's a great little urban vehicle. If I was going a long term or traveling, probably get a bigger one, but it's good size. They hold up well, they're well engineered, they're well designed, they're well made. Gets decent mileage. I like it a lot. You think about getting one. She goes, no, I really don't want one. My husband wants me to get one. Your husband wants you to get one. She goes, yeah. I said, what do you want? Oh, I like the one I'm in. I said, well, why don't you just keep the one you're in? She goes, well, he wants me to have a new Porsche. I said, okay, good. Why don't you buy a house instead? She goes, I already have a house. I said, no, you mean a rental? Buy a rental house. Huh? I'm talking about a car. I said, yeah, no, I heard you. Why don't you buy a house instead? You have any rental property? No. I said, why don't you just buy a house instead of the car? Oh? Just an idea. So that's what we do. When we want something, we go buy a house or an office building, strip center, apartment building. Start small. First thing I bought was a condo downtown, Villas on Town Lake. But that's the rule. Everybody gets what they want. Can't break the other rules to get it. Before you take on a liability, you got to take on it. You have to buy an asset that will pay for it. Okay, I'll move on. So there's some things you need to, so here are my suggestions. Stop some things, start other things. Rule number 1, stop poisoning yourself. Stop self-poisoning. If you're poisoning yourself, stop poisoning yourself. And what that means is, mentally, start feeding your mind, as I already discussed. Watch CNBC, read the business journals, Wall Street, Austin, Houston, whatever city you're in, read the business journal. Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Inc., something non-political, real news that you can sink your teeth into. Magazines, newspapers, articles, get these trade publications. If you're not reading Real Assets, go read Real Assets. Subscribe to these commercial and financial and business publications and books. You can see behind me what we're reading. This is I don't know if you can see this. This is my reading list of books that I've bought that I'm still wading through. But I've got them all over the place. I mean, this is what I read. This is what I suggest you read. I mean, that's what I do. That's what I read. That's what I see. So, and then physically, stop poisoning yourself. Stop eating refined sugar, it's poison. Stop drinking alcohol, it's poison. Sugar and alcohol are poison. Stop poisoning yourself. Get on a 2/3 vegetable, 1/3 protein diet. Cut out all the refined sugar. Shape up. Find yourself a doctor that doesn't treat disease. Find a doctor that prevents it. Don't go find a doctor that'll treat you when you get sick. Find one that'll keep you from getting sick. Get a doctor that prevents disease. If you want a referral, email me after this. I'll tell you who I use. Exercise. Get your body moving. Build muscle. If you get sick, the first thing that goes, and if you go in the hospital, the first thing that goes is your muscle. You need muscle to fight disease. So bulk up. Get on a strict diet. Watch what you're doing. You can eat as much as you want, but what you eat matters. Emotionally, disconnect from toxic people. So stop eating toxic food. Stop reading toxic articles. Stop reading junk. Stop watching junk. And stop eating and drinking junk. If you have people in your life that are toxic, get away from them. Sorry, you're in the same family, but if they're toxic, they're not your friend, they're not on your team, they're not on your side. So if they're being negative and telling you you can't be what you want to be, who you want to be, don't talk to them anymore. That's toxic. And just clean up the space. Spiritually, just clean it up. Give what you crave. Have you ever had this experience, like we go into a checkout line at the grocery store and the checkout person wasn't in the best of moods? And have you ever looked at them and decided and made a conscious decision you were going to brighten their mood, and you said something nice to them and smiled? Have you ever noticed that when they look back at you, their chin came up and their eyes went bright and they smiled back? Have you noticed that? Well, there are times that if you go about this process of self-improvement, there's times you're going to feel like, you get beat up, you get distressed, you get worn out, you get tired, and you feel like you could use a pat on the back or a thank you or some gratitude coming your way. If you crave that, go give it. It's like if you want to smile, give a smile. If you want love, love. If you want gratitude, give gratitude. If you want thanks, give thanks. Whatever you crave, give. It'll make you feel better. That's the spiritual part. So mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, these are the 5 areas that I'm working on. Then set your goals, make a schedule, and commit to it for 2023. Do it now. Don't wait for January. Do it now. Look at the past. Look at the past. Look at 2022. Did you set your goals? Did you achieve them? So go have a huge party, congratulate yourself, and take the win you deserve. Put your feet up, take a break, take the win, and then get back to work. Set your goals for 2023, commit to them, and don't negotiate with yourself. I heard that, let me give you, if I may, I'll give you an example. I have a timer on this phone that you're watching. I heard that sitting is the new smoking. Okay? And sometimes I sit too much. There's my desk. As you can see, it's sitter's paradise. So that's where I sit. That's where I work, which is a highly overrated activity. Sometimes I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm up here till 6, 7 o'clock at night. Some days, sometimes 3 to 4 days in a row, depending on my workload. If I got a project that needs that commitment, there I am sitting all day. And I heard that sitting is the new smoking, so I set my watch now. I have a timer on my phone. It goes off every 45 minutes. 45 minutes, I'm up. I don't negotiate with myself. The timer goes off, I get up. I do sit-ups, push-ups, curls, stretches. It takes about 7 minutes. I'm back in the chair and back at work. I do that every 45 minutes. Now, if you told me, and you can track it now, if you told me, Wayne, you need to exercise an hour every day, I'm going, I don't have an hour, but I got 7 minutes every hour. So chunk it down to little bite-sized pieces and do it consistently. Chunk it down and do it consistently. And then track your results. Be bold, take chances, be excited, be opportunistic. Think about what it's going to be like to be richer, to have your life exactly the way you want it. You've created this whole thing the way it is now. The parts about it you don't like, just take some time and go get rid of them and create more parts that you do like. And be opportunistic. And remember, no matter which way the economy goes, it's always a good time to make money. There's more than enough opportunity to go around. And then if you're in residential real estate, go on 3 listing presentations a week, no matter what. If you have any questions, email me. I'm going to start the way I started. Thank you for your time. I apologize for the technical interruption. I have no idea what happened. But thank you for showing up. I hope you found this worth your time. I'll see you next week on Wednesdays with Wayne. And let's go out and make it a better world. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Bye.